BMKG reveals cause of rain accompanied by strong winds in Bali. Yes, weather is the main story right now. And Cleansing Aura Atlas Bali holds Guru Piduka ceremony residents. The main aim is to forgive each other. Stay tuned for these and other stories. Selamat pagi. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is February 10th, 2025, and my name is Bruce. And what is the weather like today? Wow. Another day when it is not going to be good, and weather is the main story. We're going to be talking about that in just a minute. Right now, it is 28.4 degrees Celsius, and the wind speed is already up to 16.4 kilometers per hour. It is overcast. Humidity is 80%, and it looks like another day of rain. Had some heavy rain and winds again yesterday and around the island that is going on, and we'll talk more about that in just a second. And so lots of stuff here, and it looks like it's going to rain soon, so let's get into this. BMKG reveals cause of rain accompanied by strong winds in Bali. The Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency, that's BMKG, Region 3 Denpasar revealed the cause of the rain and strong winds that hit Bali for the past 2 days. This phenomenon is due to the pattern of meeting and turning winds that form around the Bali area. This pattern was triggered by the presence of Cyclone C96S in the Indian Ocean west of Australia, said forecaster for BMKG. Ibu Diana said the wind speed was recorded at 29 knots or around 54 kilometers per hour. The data was based on observations by the Nurai Meteorological Station. Rain and strong winds are likely to occur in most areas of Bali, especially the southern part of Bali, including along the southern waters of Bali. According to Diana, rain accompanied by strong winds is predicted to occur in the next 3 to 4 days. BMKG Denpasar office appealed to the public to be careful when doing outdoor activities. Moreover, Bali is still in the rainy season. Tourists are also asked to be aware of the potential for strong winds and sea waves that can reach 2 to 3.5 meters in the waters south of Bali. The Gilimanuk ferry was stopped at least temporarily because of high waves, strong winds, and around the island we have had trees falling, roads blocked, temples damaged, houses damaged, people killed. And so this weather is dangerous. And as the government asked, if you don't need to go out when you have these high winds and heavy rains, stay at home. You never know what's going to happen, especially if you're driving. So be careful. And what about the Atlas Super Club? We talked about this a couple of times. Well, they did hold the ceremony that they were asked to hold. Cleansing Aura Atlas Bali holds Guru Piduka ceremony residents. The main aim is to forgive each other. The management of PT Creasi Bali Prima, as a tourism and entertainment industry sector company that oversees the Atlas Super Club, held this ceremony the other day in Barawa. That was on Saturday. The ceremony is carried out with complete offerings prepared by the local temple caretakers and custodians. This ceremony is a real manifestation of a spiritual apology to the gods or ancestors from an incident that has occurred so that one can live a better life. Atlas management explained that they had fulfilled and responded to the warning letter from PHDI Bali and LBHKM HDI to make a public apology and hold the ceremony. Ever since February 3rd, a number of mediations and hearings have also been conducted with various related agencies in Bali, starting from religious leaders, security forces, members of people's representative, and community organizations. In addition, Atlas has also held meetings with the Regional Representative Council of the Republic of Indonesia, DPDRI, PHDI, DPRD, DPRD Badung, DPRD Bali, Satpol PP, and the police. This is all done as proof of our humility, a form of our apology for the incident that was carried out accidentally. Meanwhile, head of public relations for Atlas said that the Guru Piduka ceremony was intended to run simultaneously with Saraswati Day. As a form of tolerance and respect for the beliefs of the Balinese Hindu community, since its opening in 2022, Atlas has succeeded in bringing Indonesia's name to foreign countries. It is undeniable that more than 1,300 jobs have been absorbed by Atlas. Of those, 700 are Balinese Hindus, who have become an important part of the tourist industry on the island of the gods. Atlas has also made a concrete contribution and had a big impact on the economy and tourism of Bali, well, in the south anyway. One of the residents of Barawa said that after the ceremony, it was hoped that the situation would return to calm and conducive. The main goal is let us forgive each other, said Imade Kamajaya, head of Tibubeneng village, and he added that thousands of people depend on Atlas for their livelihood. This needs to be taken into consideration, considering the importance of the economic sustainability of the Balinese people. Monitoring at the location of the event, more than 500 Atlas employees participated, in the spiritual apology ceremony. In fact, the temple hall could not accommodate the group of male and female employees who attended. Some of the riders even crowded the road. The police were busy regulating traffic so that there would be no traffic jam. There's always a traffic jam. And there was a story that I was going to talk about that said that the Super Club had already been closed temporarily. But I saw another story that said that the DPRD has asked that they be closed temporarily. And I can't find any corresponding story that shows that they've been closed temporarily. So the time being, that seems to be up for discussion. So is this story going to end here with the public apology and the ceremony, or is it going to continue on while some parties push for a temporary closure? In another story on culture versus economy, tradition versus modernity. Balinese people reject investors' preference. Bali has recently been abuzz with the viral display of the symbolization of Lord Shiva at the Atlas Super Club on social media. The use of Hindu religious symbols at this night entertainment has made some Balinese people furious, and we've talked about this already. Residents said that investors did not respect the local culture. Protests from local communities against foreign investors also emerged sometime before the Dewa Wisnu event. The Serangan traditional village community also reported to Indonesian House of Representatives member Inyo Mempartha regarding local communities who had difficulty accessing the waters around Serangan Beach, especially near the reclamation land. Residents could only sigh because it was ironic that the homeland where they were born for generations for hundreds of years was now restricted from access by investors. Previously, thousands of Balinese residents on behalf of the Bali Tourism Driver Struggle Forum also came to the Bali DPRD office asking for the existence of online taxis to be restricted because they are detrimental to conventional drivers who are the livelihoods of many local Balinese residents. Sociologist from Udayana University, Gede Kamajaya, said the recent phenomena is a symptom of Balinese people's urgency with the arrival of outsiders, non-Balinese, including investors. This urgency is apparently not only in terms of economy, as what happened with the taxi drivers, but also more importantly, cultural urgency. According to the professor, if we look back a little, the symptoms of Balinese people's sense of urgency were already visible when the jargon Ajeg Bali emerged as a form of resistance from Balinese people who felt their identity was threatened. I think that more or less the signs of this urgency have started to appear actually since the echo of the cultural identity movement emerged through the slogan Ajeg Bali. Ajeg Bali is a movement that aims to maintain the identity of Balinese culture. The movement is carried out by maintaining the customs and religion of Balinese ancestors. The word Ajeg means sturdy, strong, or permanent. Ajeg Bali can be interpreted as efforts to maintain the identity of Balinese culture, efforts to return Balinese society to the context of practicing Hinduism and Balinese culture, efforts to maintain Balinese traditional values from the influence of foreign cultures, efforts to create new cultural symbols, and efforts to redefine the Balinese identity of the Balinese. He said the symptoms of urgency do not always mean that Bali's human resources do not have the quality to compete, although admittedly Bali's workforce is still predominantly absorbed by the tourism industry. There are still few who fill key positions. The issue is not as simple as being able to absorb local people or not. Beyond that, the investment climate must grow along with the increasing empowerment of local communities, prioritizing sustainability and locality, he explained. Chairman of the Indonesian Hindu Youth Association, Bali, Iputu Eka Mahardika, said Bali could not possibly close itself off from investors to build its economy. However, investors should be more sensitive to the views of local people. Balinese people are easygoing, he said. They're forgiving. They welcome everything, but please don't hurt us. Regarding the Atlas Beach Club incident, He hoped that this will not happen again. According to him, the protests conveyed by many Hindu components in Bali are a message to investors in Bali not to seek just profits without empathy for the local population. Of course, there must be a warning that in the future, it should not become an example for investors who invest in Bali. Head of Badung Regency Investment and One Stop Integrated Service Office said that based on PP number 5 of 2021 concerning supervision of business licensing, what the Atlas Super Club did could be categorized as a moderate to serious violation. The sanctions range from written warnings, administrative sanctions, temporary closures, to revocation of permit. Chairman of the Bali Chris Knight Foundation, when visiting the DPRD building, conveyed 7 firm demands to the Balinese people's representatives. He requested that the club be temporarily closed as a form of sanction for the incident. In addition, his party also demanded a direct apology, both directly and through the nightclub's social media. That's already happened. He also demanded a clear legal process for the responsible parties and urged the Bali DPRD to immediately create a regional regulation regarding the use of Hindu religious symbols, and I've talked about this before. He said, "I am ready to go forward and fight together with the Balinese people. Cases like this cannot be left alone. Here we voice the voice of Balinese people." And so, as I've talked about before, you're getting an increasing amount of pushback as more and more of these cases go viral, and you have a situation where some of the community is asking for things to slow down, and other parts of the community are asking things to speed up. And those usually are from the government and from the business community who is profiting from the tourism industry. Where is this going to go? This has been an issue for such a long time, and at this point, who knows? But Bali is definitely being changed. Okay, and one final story, and this is an interesting one, and I'm talking about this one because it shows you've got to be careful whatever you do here. A lot of what is happening here when people violate rules, they overstay visas or they get caught working and stuff, they get deported, that's it. But sometimes now you're going to get put in jail, and there have been a couple of incidents of this recently, and I'm taking a look at this one because this is one where you would expect, based on previous cases, for deportation to happen, but in fact, the person involved got sentenced to prison. Denpasar District Court judges reduce Australian Jessica Clare's sentence in veterinarian insult case. Yeah, an insult. The Denpasar District Court panel of judges gave a lighter sentence to Jessica Clare, a woman from Australia who was previously sentenced to 3 months in prison for a case of insulting a veterinarian in Bali. And the video is online in a number of places. In the verdict hearing held on this past Thursday, the judge sentenced the defendant, who had been found guilty, to 2 months in prison. Jessica Clare, a 50-year-old woman, was accused of demeaning the profession of a veterinarian at the Bali Veterinary Clinic in Piduka. And she did this with harsh words, and they were really harsh words. The public prosecutor stated that he is still considering further legal steps regarding this decision, as did the defendant, who stated that she is considering it as well. Jessica Clare was charged under Article 315 of the Criminal Code in conjunction with Article 64, Paragraph 1 of the Criminal Code, after being proven to have committed an insult that caused the veterinarian to feel humiliated. Yes, you can go to jail for that here. The case began when the defendant brought her pet cat, Rocket, who was injured from fighting with a stray dog, to the clinic. Rocket was received and immediately treated by the on-call doctor, who suggested that the cat receive inpatient care. As a standard procedure, the defendant was asked to fill out an inpatient document and deposit 1.5 million rupiah. However, she agreed to do this, but said that she could not pay because her ATM card was blocked. She requested that the payment be made the next day. However, the defendant did not appear the next day and did not respond, even though the clinic repeatedly contacted her via WhatsApp. After 6 days without a response, the clinic reminded the owner of the agreement that if the animal owner did not fulfill the obligation within 5 days, custody of the animal would be transferred to the clinic. Hearing this, the defendant came in an emotional state to the clinic and demanded that her cat be returned by force. In a fit of rage, Jessica Clare shouted inside the clinic, entered the sterile area without permission, and snatched the nearly torn treatment documents. Another story said she crumpled them up and threw them at the vet. When the vet tried to calm her down, the defendant instead hurled harsh words, including curses in English such as "fuck you," And you stole my cat, and most insulting, you fucking bitch. Feeling insulted, the vet reported the incident to the Mengwi police. In court, she asserted that the defendant's remarks had demeaned her in her profession and stated that the defendant had violated rules by entering the sterile position without permission. Outside the court, the plaintiff's attorneys stated that this case was not only about the law, but also about respecting the rules and ethics of speaking in Indonesia. He emphasized that every foreign citizen living in Indonesia, including the defendant who resides in Mengwi, is obliged to obey local laws. This case has attracted public attention and is a warning to tourists or expatriates to always respect the norms and laws that apply in Indonesia. And if you've been here for a while, I'm sure you've seen many cases of foreigners screaming at Indonesians about one thing or another. And so sometimes people do time for things that you would think they wouldn't, based on past incidents of foreigners here in Bali doing bad things. Usually they're deported. And in this case, she's been given a jail sentence. So you need to be careful about what you do, what you say here. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Take care. Hope the weather gets better wherever you are. And I will see you next time.